This is probably one of the most nervous times I've ever been when it comes to dealing with any aquarium fish. What's going on is I have a fish that needs its teeth trimmed. Now that might seem kind of odd to a lot of you, but basically what's going on is I have one of my fish that has teeth that continually grow. So what it is, it's an Amazon puffer. I've got a couple Amazon puffers in this aquarium behind me. Now I got them both at the same time. They've always been in the same aquarium together, and they've always been fed the same food. So they get a combination of live foods like snails as an example. They get frozen foods and they get freeze-dried foods. The issue that I've had is that one of the puffers does great with everything, eats the hard foods, chomps them down, and it files its teeth down. So what happens is there's a lot of puffers, their teeth or their beaks continually grow, and they'll get like this buck tooth thing going on if they don't file their teeth down on something hard. And one of them only ate the soft food and kind of ignored the hard foods, and so its teeth are kind of getting out of hand. Now, I could do nothing and leave it alone. It's still super healthy, it's still eating, because I've gone through extra measures to make sure that it's getting lots of food. I'll make sure I give it frozen bloodworms. I'll make sure that if I am putting a harder food in there, that I break it up a little bit, knowing that it can't open its mouth up enough to be able to fit some foods in. So it's healthy, it's eating, but if this continues, it's going to die because there's going to be a point when it can't eat anymore. So I have two options. One, leave it alone, and it's not going to survive because its teeth are going to continually grow and it's eventually not going to be able to eat and it's going to starve to death. Or two, I can operate. Now, I've never operated on a fish before, so this is where things get really nerve-wracking. So what I've done is I've looked up instructions on how to basically anesthetize a fish, and I'm using clove oil. So this is 100% pure clove oil. So what I've done is I've taken aquarium water right from the aquarium, obviously, and put exactly 1 liter of water in here. And I also did 3 drops of the clove oil. So essentially the formula is 2 to 4 drops. I did 3, and then I put an air stone in there with some air, and I agitated it for a while to make sure that the clove oil is fully dissolved, in the water column. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the puffer into this clove oil water, let it kind of fall asleep, and then once it's asleep, I'm going to put on my gloves. I'm going to gently handle the puffer, and I'm going to use these clean, I actually sterilized them upstairs, cuticle trimmers. I actually don't use these, but I had them in a bag, and so I just cleaned them very thoroughly with alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to trim its beak back a little bit. Then I'm going to put it back in regular fresh water from the aquarium where it is right now. So currently we can see the guy swimming around. And so I'll put him back in here, let him wake back up, and then I'll put it back in the aquarium. So hopefully this works out, because there's really no other option. If I don't do anything, the fish will die. So if I get the anesthesia correct, then this should be successful, and we'll see. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move the fish from one container to the other, don my gloves, wait for the fish to aspirate or whatever, breathe, and let that clove oil pass through its system, and then hopefully it will fall asleep a little bit, and then I'll trim the beak and we'll put him back in. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible so that it's not under stress for a long period of time. Wish me luck. Before I go on, do me a big favor, hit that like button. It really does help my channel and it helps the algorithm. And if you don't mind, please do consider subscribing to my channel. I would very much appreciate it.
Paging Dr. Tazawa. Paging Dr. Tazawa.
All right, so I just put the fish in the container with the clove oil, and I'm going to basically let it breathe for a little bit, and hopefully it will start to slow down, and I'll just keep an eye on it to look for visible signs while I don my gloves. And if I don't see that the fish is falling asleep, essentially, I'll add 1 more drop, agitate the water some more, wait a little bit of time, and then continue with the process. So the fish is getting sluggish. I'll go ahead and give myself some more light. Now the fish is not moving, so I'm going to quickly do this. This is very difficult. I'm going to put the fish back in the clove oil because it was starting to move around a little bit. I did cut a little bit of tooth off, but not enough. So we're going to continue on. The hardest part is holding the fish. I'm going to use this towel. Try to carefully. Okay. That took maybe 2 minutes. More stressful than I thought it was going to be. The main problem that I had is I was using these gloves, these nitrile gloves, and I couldn't get a good hold of the fish to position it to be able to cut its beak. So I ended up just using a towel, and I was able to do that. So far, I put the puffer back in a specimen container with fresh water that doesn't have any clove oil, and I've got an air stone in there, and the fish, I can start to see it starting to breathe again. It's very labored breathing. It's kind of sitting at the bottom of the container, so I'm going to leave it alone for a while and just cross my fingers that this went well. I'm relieved the fish is okay. It's been a couple of minutes, and it's still kind of like not happy. It's just chilling at the bottom of the container right now, but it is moving around. When I moved the air stone and touched it, it like just swam away from it real quickly. So I'm just gonna let it kind of chill here for a few more minutes, just make sure everything's okay, and then I'm gonna put the puffer back in the tank. All right, so puffer's pretty feisty now. I don't want to handle him with another net. This was the same tank water, so I'm just going to basically submerge this container into the tank and let it swim out so it's not getting poured or picked up or anything. It's had enough drama for the day. Swim away, buddy. Swim away. The fish has been swimming around for a while now. He's doing okay, or it's doing okay. So I'll just continue to keep an eye on it for the next few days just to make sure everything looks okay. Honestly, it's my fault, right? So the fish is in my care. I should have been more diligent knowing that puffers need to eat hard foods. And if I saw that one of my puffers was eating snails and the other was waiting for the bloodworms, then maybe I should have just not fed them bloodworms and just made them go after the snails so that it would have gotten used to that harder diet, or, you know, going after the snails and crushing them in its beak and eating them. The tank they're in now has a ton of snails, so I'll make sure that they continue to get snails. What I might do is get like a little dish and crush up some snails so that it kind of gets used to eating them that way again. And because the fish is so small, I didn't want to cut very much. So I cut enough to where I feel like it will be able to have more space to crunch on some snails, and then hopefully if it just starts eating snails, then it will slowly start to file down. So I'll keep you guys updated, but let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this. Is this something that you've tried before? Is it something that you've heard about and wanted to try? Yeah, with that, I'd say like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.